There's so much in the dark they have to get their own private investigator? What?
P-A-S-C-A-L. You are now rocking with that dude, Pascal.
What's up? Yes, y'all, we're back in the conversation about David and the Celeste Rivas Tesla case. Of course, where this little girl was found in the front trunk of David, the recording artist David's Tesla. There has not been a whole lot of information pumping out recently. LAPD has been holding everything very, very close to the vest, tightly to the vest, and a lot of people are wanting to know what is going on. Let's be real. First and foremost, just a quick update. David is still out here free. He has not been detained. He has not been arrested. He has not been named a prime suspect or a person of interest or anything of that sort, which still doesn't make any sense to me, given the fact that this man's car that he owned, that the car was under his name, had a person inside of it gone. Instantly, I would start side-eyeing the hell out of him. And I feel like the rest of the world, most of the world, is side-eyeing this guy right now because of that situation. But other than that, LAPD hasn't done anything. And all we know are those few pieces of information. And of course, you internet sleuths out there have been putting in work and, of course, unearthing a lot of stuff, showing that there was a relationship between David and Celeste, that it was more than just friendship, etc. All right. And that she was there. She was always there, that she was around David and a lot of David's friends for a very long time. It explains a lot. The timeline keeps changing because the story and the evidence and the information that keeps getting put out here for everyone to see changes that storyline, which is absolutely crazy. Okay, nonetheless. But here's the thing, though. We haven't really heard much from the landlord of that $20,000 a month mansion out in the Hollywood Hills that he was staying at with allegedly Celeste Rivas. We haven't really heard much from the landlord. All we heard was that he was shocked about everything. He was still trying to find out what was going on. He still wanted to know why everything went down the way it went down. I feel that David was kicked out of this house. I don't think it was a situation where David turned to him and said, "We're going to leave." I think the landlord said, "No, I need you to leave." Let's not forget, the house got raided after they identified the body. They raided David's rental home, which is a mansion in the Hollywood Hills. I just have to say that again, which is wild to me, all right? But him and whoever else was staying in that home had to move out. All their stuff got moved out. And I do not think that they moved out solely because they felt like leaving. No, I think this landlord said, kick rocks, because you're making the property look really, you're devaluing the property by bringing all of this heat, literally all this attention and the heat, police, to this home. I am not cool with it. But now we're hearing some new information from the actual landlord, which I think is very interesting too. This landlord is taking matters into his own hands, which I think is weird. And I don't mean that in any sinister kind of way. It makes sense. And I know why he's doing this. Just so you know, it's multi-layered here. Okay, it's like an onion. There's lots of layers to the reason why he's doing this investigation. Let's be real, okay, or why he's taking matters into his own hands as well, okay? But nonetheless, it is very weird because here's the thing. LAPD should be a little bit more transparent to the people who are connected to the situation, whether it's the landlord, okay, or if it's families, etc., right? But this landlord is taking matters into his own hands, and to me, it says a lot. Like I said, multi-tiered situation. So his $4 million mansion was raided in the David investigation. With the LAPD still silent, he's taken the case of this missing girl into his own hands. All right. So the owner of the Hollywood Hills mansion raided by police probing the demise of Celeste Rivas Hernandez has hired a private investigator to get to the bottom of the mysterious case after weeks without answers from the LAPD. So Rivas's decomposed remains were found inside that trunk, the front trunk of David's Tesla, which we already know. All right. She had been officially missing for more than a year after running away from home in April of 2024 at age 13. So we already know that this home, the LAPD homicide detectives raided his home after the remains that were found in this Tesla were identified as Celeste Rivas. All right. Of course, they said several items of evidence were collected for analysis, but gave no further details about what was going on. And this is what we're talking about. The LAPD has not really said much at all to the public. There's been a few, if at all, any press releases, okay, maybe one or two press releases as of late, but they have not said really anything at all. And I want to know why. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think all of us agree on that because we want to know what the hell's going on. But here's the thing. Since the raid, updates from the LAPD have been scarce. Yes, it has. No arrests have been made. No, there has not. No suspects publicly named. None have been named for sure. And a cause of demise for Rivas has not yet been determined. So they're still waiting on toxicology reports, etc., right? On all that. But that is kind of wild that we haven't heard anything at all. And this case kind of just went dead. All right. It just went straight up dead in the water. There was a lot of buzz about it. And then now, because we haven't heard anything, the boat is just sitting on still water. No gusts of wind. The sails aren't picking up. Nothing. Okay. No winds, no waves, no nothing. So Mladen Trifunovic, who owns the mansion where David had been living, is desperate for answers. He told the Daily Mail that he had only limited contact with police and is concerned about what role, if any, his home has played in Rivas's demise. Determined to find the truth, the landlord, Trifunovic, okay, has hired a private investigator to review surveillance footage and interview potential witnesses to determine whether Rivas ever stayed at the home, and if so, when she was last seen there. Now, we already heard that she had been in the house. We heard neighbors say that they would wave and say hello to the couple, basically saying, oh, we thought that they were, of age and that they were together, that kind of thing, or she was of age, around his age and all that stuff, that they were very neighborly, but they kept to themselves, blah, 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 right? We've heard all of that. But the fact that the landlord is doing everything he can to get down to the bottom of what's going on is very interesting and very telling. But like I said, I think the reason why he's doing this is more than just because of, obviously he wants to know what happened to this little girl, right? I think he is doing this also because, well, let's be real. It's an investment. That home is a very expensive investment. Obviously, he was having people stay there for $20,000 a month rent. So it's a considerable amount of money that he's not getting, right? He wants to see his ROI. He wants to see his return on investment. He has that property for a specific reason, to make money. And I'm sure he's going, okay, if I want to have somebody live there, I don't know if people want to live there, given the fact that maybe a girl lost her life in there. And even if I put it on the market to sell, it might be impossible to do that as well because of there being a possible unaliving happening inside of the home. It drops the value of the home, and that's, I'm sure, what he's really concerned about as well. Yeah, I know that I'm sure he wants to know exactly what went down because, of course, this happened in his home. I'm sure he feels some sort of responsibility in this connection to this whole tragic story. But at the same time, I think he's also thinking about that money, too. And he's like, well, if someone did lose their life in here, maybe I need to sell this and move on, right? And not try to put it back on the market with, an Airbnb or put it on the market for rent again, too, given that there's a tragic history that now has possibly transpired in this home. But let's continue on. All right. That's interesting that he's getting a private investigator and all that. So he says, I have a private investigator gathering information because my family and I want to understand what may or may not have happened in or around the home that is very special to us. Okay, we're not interfering. He says we're not interfering with the LAPD's investigation. We are simply asking questions or seeking answers I fear may not be communicated to us unless we have a licensed investigator. Now, I think I get it. I definitely get it. I would want to know, like, look at this home. Like, man, that is a really nice home. You know, the setup it's a really beautiful home. Okay. $4 million home, allegedly. Okay. This is no joke. But again, like I said, you know, I get it that they want to know exactly what happened here because something very tragic happened here. But also, I'm sure they want to know whether they can put it back on the market for rent or if they just need to sell that thing outright so that they don't have any connection to it anymore. I think that's part of it too. But that's the other thing as well. It's all right. Are they looking through, are they looking through information? Are they, is there any video footage out here? You see what I'm saying? Like, because he says that there was access to cameras and all that, that he gives to the person who's actually renting there. And that he didn't have access to those security cameras inside the home while that renter is renting that home. So I'm wondering where else. I mean, I'm sure there's other Ring cameras from, across the street, around the corner, that kind of thing. I'm sure he's getting access to that as well. But yeah, that would give us a little bit more of a timeline of when was she last seen? When was she actually last physically seen? And let's not forget, if her body was actually moved into that car, maybe there'd be a moment seen where on Ring camera or some sort of security camera where the car is being moved after she had been put into the front trunk of that Tesla. But nonetheless, I get it. He wants to know what's going on, not only for his own sake and for his own family, and given the fact that they love this home and all that stuff, but I also think that it's a financial thing too. Okay, I hate to say it like that, but he's got a business, and that home, I'm sure, that home was printing money, for Christ's sakes. So again, obviously he wants to know what's going on so that he can do whatever he needs to do with his investment as well. But I'm hoping that this private investigator knows exactly what's going on, or finds out exactly what's going on, so that we all can find out what happened here. Because yeah, we need to get justice for Celeste. Period. And we have yet to hear anything yet. And that's weird that we haven't heard anything at all. No new updates, nothing lately. And I find that extremely strange. But what say you guys? Do you agree with my theory or not? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. And we'll talk here very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.